In the village of Kamba, the elders often said that happiness was like the morning dew. It arrived quietly at dawn, clinging gently to leaves, rooftops, and blades of grass. In that early hour, it shimmered like silver under the newborn sun, making the world feel clean and full of promise. But as the day grew hotter, the dew faced its test. Some of it vanished without a trace, while some endured, proving that it was strong enough to survive the heat. This saying was passed from generation to generation, spoken around fires and during long walks home, yet many only understood its meaning when life itself became their teacher. 6 moons had passed since the wedding of Zola and Tariq. Their union had not been celebrated with endless drums or grand feasts that lasted for days, but it carried a quiet power that the entire village felt. Their home stood near the edge of Kamba, built with mud walls shaped by careful hands and topped with a thatched roof that smelled faintly of dry grass and old rain. It was a simple place, yet people often slowed their steps when they passed by it, as if the air itself asked them to move gently. From inside that house came laughter soft, genuine laughter that did not demand attention. Women on their way to the market paused without realizing why, smiling to themselves. Children whispered and giggled as they passed, sensing warmth even if they did not yet understand it. Men returning tired from the fields felt their shoulders relax for a moment when those sounds reached their ears. Slowly, without ceremony, the people of Kamba began to say that Zola and Tariq's home was not just a house, but a resting place for the spirit. Zola moved through her days with a calm rhythm that matched the land around her. She rose early, before the sun fully claimed the sky, and swept the compound while the air was still cool. She cooked slowly, with care, humming old songs her mother once sang. When she walked through the village, she greeted everyone with the same kindness, whether they were elders or children. Her face carried a glow that could not be bought or borrowed. It came from deep within, from a heart that had learned contentment. Tariq often watched her without her noticing. To him, she was not simply his wife, she was his crown, placed gently on his life. He listened when she spoke, even when her voice was soft. He respected her silence, understanding that peace did not always need words. When challenges came, he protected her peace rather than feeding conflict. In Zola, he had found not only love, but rest. Kojo, Zola's father, spent many mornings sitting on a wooden bench near their compound. His pipe rested between his fingers as thin lines of smoke curled into the air and disappeared. He had lived long enough to know sorrow well. Years earlier, he had buried his wife, learning the hard lesson that life could take what it pleased without warning. From that day on, he poured all his strength into raising Zola. He taught her honesty when lies were easier. He taught her patience when anger felt quicker. He guarded her heart like a rare orchid, delicate yet precious. Now, watching her with Tariq, Kojo felt something he had not felt in many years' rest. His nights were peaceful, his worries had softened. My child is safe, he often thought. She is loved, and for a father, that knowledge was richer than gold. But the elders also warned that in a world where humans and spirits share the same soil, light never stands alone. Where joy grows, envy watches. Where peace lives, shadows wait. Ada was one such shadow. She had grown up beside Zola, her footsteps once matching Zola's along the dusty paths of Kamba. They had fetched water from the same stream, laughing as they balanced heavy clay pots on their heads. They had braided each other's hair beneath the wide arms of the ancient baobab tree, sharing dreams of the future. But time had shaped them differently. Where Zola learned patience, Ada learned impatience. Where Zola listened, Ada spoke loudly. Ada was beautiful, with sharp features and eyes that demanded attention. She was bold, confident, and unafraid to announce her presence. From a young age, she believed greatness was her destiny. Life, in her mind, owed her rewards simply because she existed. From the busy marketplace, Ada often watched Zola. She saw the way vendors greeted her warmly, the way women smiled at her without jealousy, the way men respected her without fear. On one market day, Ada watched as Zola bought fish, her movements calm, her voice gentle as she thanked the seller. Something twisted painfully inside Ada's chest. Why her? Ada thought. Why the quiet one? Tariq was known throughout the region as a good man, hard-working, respectful, and steady. Ada had imagined such a man beside herself, not the woman who spoke softly and walked humbly. Night after night, the same question haunted her. Why did fortune smile on Zola while she remained unseen in her father's house? At night, Ada sat alone in her hut, staring into her reflection in a calabash filled with water. The face that stared back felt unfamiliar, tight with disappointment, restless with anger. She splashed the water in frustration, breaking her reflection into pieces. "Does the rain fall only on one roof?" she whispered bitterly. "Does the sun shine only for Zola?" Jealousy crept quietly into her heart, like a snake sliding through tall grass. At first, it whispered. Then it spoke louder. Soon, it demanded action. Jealousy is a strange hunger. It does not want food. It wants the suffering of others. Ada no longer wanted happiness for herself alone. She wanted Zola to lose hers. And so, in the darkness of her thoughts, a wicked idea took root. The night of the new moon arrived without ceremony. The sky was dark, the stars hidden, and even the wind seemed to move carefully. In Kamba, such nights were known to belong to spirits. The village slept, wrapped in silence. But Ada did not sleep. She crept through the darkness, moving low to the ground. In her hands was a burlap sack that shifted and trembled. Inside it was a black rooster, alive, strong, and innocent. In Kamba's tradition, to bury a living creature was an unforgivable sin, a call for curses to walk freely among the people. Such acts were spoken of only in whispers. Ada knew this. She did not care. Behind Zola's hut, she dug into the earth with shaking hands. Sweat rolled down her face as the soil resisted her shovel. The rooster cried, its head pushing through the sack, its eyes wide with fear. For a brief moment, doubt flickered in Ada's chest. But jealousy is louder than conscience. She pushed the bird into the hole. "Cry," she whispered harshly. "Cry from the darkness. As you scratch the earth, let Zola's peace be scratched away. Let Tariq hear demons in this house. Let him run from her as if she were cursed." She covered the hole carefully, smoothing the soil so no eye could see the sin beneath. Then she walked away, her heart pounding, believing she had planted destruction. In her haste, she forgot the wisdom of the elders. The arrow you shoot into the sky will always return, and often it returns to the one who released it. Morning came bright and innocent. The sun rose gently, painting the village in gold. Zola stepped outside with her broom, humming softly as she swept the compound. Her bare feet moved lightly over the very ground where the rooster lay buried. She felt nothing, heard nothing. Her heart remained calm. Inside the house, Tariq drank his tea in peace. Kojo sat outside, smoking his pipe, content. The protection of a clean heart is a wall no evil can climb. Ada passed the compound later that day, smiling to herself, waiting for screams, for fear, for chaos. Instead, a sound exploded inside her head. "Kokoroko!" She screamed and grabbed her head. Villagers stopped and stared as she staggered. The sound echoed again, louder, sharper, but it was not in the air or the trees. It lived inside her skull. Zola heard nothing. Tariq heard nothing. Their home remained calm as still water. Days passed. The rooster beneath the ground fell silent. But Ada's torment grew louder. The crowing followed her everywhere, mocking her, accusing her. She could not eat without her hands shaking. She could not sleep without pressing pillows over her ears. Her eyes grew dark, her body weak, and her mind began to crack. Villagers whispered as she shouted at empty spaces. "Has Ada gone mad?" they asked. "Has she angered a spirit?" Finally, the elders were called. The chief priest stood before her as Ada collapsed to her knees, disheveled and broken. "This is not a sickness herbs can cure," the priest said calmly. "This is a sickness of the soul. Woman, what follows you?" "Make it stop!" Ada screamed. "It is pecking at my eyes. It is screaming my name. Zola, tell your demon to release me." Zola stepped forward, confused but gentle. "I have no demons," she said softly. "I have only peace." The guilt could no longer be contained. Ada clawed at the dirt, her pride crushed beneath the weight of her own actions. "I buried it," she confessed. "Behind her hut, the black rooster. I wanted her to be cursed. Dig it up, maybe the noise will stop." Men rushed behind the hut and dug where Ada pointed. They uncovered the rooster. For a moment, it lay still in the soil. Then it shook its feathers, stood up, and lived. A deep hush fell over Kamba. The elders understood. Life could not be destroyed by envy. Evil could not cling to a pure heart. Tariq stood closer to Zola, seeing clearly the darkness that had surrounded them and the light that had protected them all along. Ada was led away in shame, banished to the outskirts of the village to live with her noise until she learned peace within her own heart. From that day on, the people of Kamba spoke carefully about jealousy, and the elders added a new proverb to the history of the land. "Do not dig a grave for your enemy, for you may find yourself falling into it." Zola and Tariq lived long, their love growing quietly but powerfully, a living reminder that the strongest magic of all is simply a clean heart. Moral lesson: jealousy destroys the one who carries it. Evil sent with hatred returns to its sender, but a pure heart is protected by peace no curse can touch. Thank you for watching African Tales by Marichi. Please subscribe, like, and share this video for your friends to watch.